Today, we're going to talk about the power of communication and how, if we understand the process of it and apply it to our lives correctly, it will change our lives forever. And not just our lives, but our generations. Okay, so let's get right into it. Communication comes in a lot of different forms. It comes to us in a lot of forms, and we give it in a lot of different forms. So, some examples that I want to talk about the different forms of coming at us in communication is the obvious ones: music, TV, even like family upbringing, like family advice that's been passed down, our culture, right? What our culture says, uh, if you got to be a tough guy, right? In Spanish, they call it machismo. And so YouTube is now the main thing to go for communication, or Facebook. But we need to figure out what the most important form of communication is. The most important form of communication is what we say to ourselves. So it's really essential for us to comb through the different forms of communication that come at us, because it forms the voice inside of us. So if we're surrounded by negativity, whether through music or through TV or through people, we will also have that same characteristic in our communication inside of us, the little voice that talks to us. So once we understand that, and once we start combing through our thoughts and we figure out, what do I say about myself? Because we all speak good on the outside, we all say the right things, we play the role good, but deep down inside of us is where the truth is. And a good way of looking at this is, imagine being in a relationship where a person says they want to change, and you know that they're not, and they're always lying that they're going to do things differently, and they just don't. You already know, that they're lying. It's the same with us. We want change, we want something different, but we know us. And so we have to figure out a way how to change that voice. And that's why it's so important to think about this. And this is a process that's not going to fix in a day. I say that in all my videos because it's the truth. There's not a way to fix this in one day. You have to give yourself the luxury of giving yourself time to work on yourself. It's important to have mentorship, because a lot of times we can't see what's going on in our lives. There's truths in my life, even now, that I believe are truths because my family believed that, or my culture believed it, or because society says it. And it turns out it's a lie. And it takes somebody outside a lot of times to tell you that. It takes somebody outside of the situation to hold you accountable. So I have to make this point. You must first work on the inside before you can work on the outside. But keep in mind, everything you do on the outside affects the inside. Everything you allow on the outside influences the inside. So there's two things going on here. Now you know that what you listen to and what you watch influences that voice on the inside. Now you know that everything that you allow come into your mind will form the inside. And so with that information now, we gotta work it backwards. Figure out the things that we're watching, listening to, who we're hanging out with, even if we're, in an unhealthy, uh, you know, way of life. As far as health goes, chemicals can change and make us stressed out, can make us feel a certain way, can make us feel anxious. Chemicals in our foods, things like that. So this is steps. Like I said, this is not something you're gonna figure out in one day. And thinking about yourself in a positive way is your advantage. And the voice inside of you, needs to be that voice that tells you you can do it. The voice inside of you needs to be that voice that becomes discipline, not motivational, but it literally becomes discipline. That voice is the form of communication that tells you to keep going, that you got this, you can do this. And I'll give you a great example, and I believe you guys will agree with me. It's a lot better in your life to think from a positive perspective and to speak to yourself in a positive perspective than to speak in a negative perspective, right? I mean, think about that. This is not like the power of positivity that's going to change your mind and your life. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is if you speak better to yourself, you're in a way better position than if you speak negative to yourself. I think we can all agree on that. Okay. I also want to figure out, what does God say about us? What does God say about the people who believe in Him? So we got to go to the Bible for that. And so I'm going to share a verse we all know. A lot of people know. It's Jeremiah 29:11. And it says, "For I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." Do you believe it? Do you truly believe that? And if you do, that's great. But if you don't, if we bring truthful to ourselves, it's time to do some work. It's time to figure out our thoughts. It's time to comb through them and to figure out what is good and what is not. It's time to figure out what things are influencing us to not believe that verse. What things are telling us not to believe our God. And it's time to remove that. And so the power is in your hands. A lot of times we don't even know that. The power is literally in your hands. And it's so important that we understand this. It's so important that we battle this and we hit this head on and we take care of this issue, because if you can't do it, then your kids ain't gonna do it. I say that a lot in my videos, and it's the truth. So I hope this encourages you. I hope this comes as a blessing and it gives you strength. And let's go out there and kill it, guys. Go out there and hunt for your family, bring some food back to the table, and give glory to our God. Thanks again. Have a great day.